From the album Blackbraid I, that was The River of Time Flows Through Me. And now joining us from Blackbraid, he is the entire band. Everybody from the Adirondack Mountains, please welcome Sgah'gahsowáh. How you doing, my friend? Thank you for spending time with us today. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me. I'm pumped.
Yeah, absolutely. Corey and I are both stoked to chat with you. Both of us are fans of the album and everything like that. So I'm sure that the last couple of months have kind of been like a whirlwind for you as far as everything that's been going on. So, like, as far as let's just like, how has the reception to this album been compared to what your expectations were on it?
Man, it's been insane to be honest. It doesn't, to put it in perspective, I also had pretty much zero expectations going into it.
Mm.
I didn't really honestly, I didn't expect anything to happen. So, um, I would have been happy with like 1,000 views on YouTube when I dropped that single. So, there's just so much black metal out there. Like I bet you 3 or 4 underground albums came out today, and it's like they're just constantly pumping out great albums. And it's so easy to like kind of get lost in the static. Even if you're great, a lot of albums just get missed. So
Hmm.
I didn't really with putting out an indie black metal album. I had zero expectations going into it. So it's all been like really just a huge, awesome surprise.
Hell yeah, but I think you touched on something. Yeah, there's a lot of music coming out and everything like that, but it's really, in my opinion, it's the stuff that you can tell where the artist has really put everything into it, right? They have a vision, they have a focus, and they're doing stuff that speaks to them. And I think that there is like that's the essence of this project right here. So I'm curious on like how the idea for this project came about and what the earliest days of Blackbraid were like.
Yeah, it's a great question. Man, I didn't really have any expectations going into it or a plan or anything. Um, I just kind of started writing songs. The first 2 singles I wrote first, the one we just heard in Barefoot Ghost Dance. Um, and I was kind of just dicking around, writing stuff for fun in my house. And when I finished those 2 songs, I was like, oh, well, I think these are actually really good, and I think I want to release them somehow. So that's kind of how the idea for Blackbraid started. Originally, I was gonna do just like a 2 song EP with them. Um, and by the time I got my shit together enough to like put a release together, like I had already written so much more. I was like, oh, I'll just make it an album. Do a little like 30, 40 minute album or whatever. But yeah, it was pretty organic. I didn't really think about it much. I was kind of just writing songs at home, and then one day I was like, oh, there's enough here to put out an album. And maybe I should make some moves and write some more lyrics. And I kind of just threw it together, to be honest.
I love that. Just it feels like everything just kind of came together, just like there's a right time, right place type of thing. And then the music is kick ass, so that always helps. Corey, please jump in here with a question. Take us wherever you want to go.
Oh, actually, so the word that you just used, organic, kind of leads into my next question, which is in no way related to what you were just saying, but in my brain, they are related. um, One of the things that really stands out to me about your music is so the black metal genre is a very closed off one. And there are, certain movements within the indigenous culture that are kind of more closed off than uh, most people seem to realize. And so those two kind of movements of being closed off, having that barrier separating people, um, are kind of prevalent. But your music is not. It's not like that. It's a lot more welcoming. It's a lot more open, and it's a lot more engaging. Was that intentional in that you wanted to welcome people more back into nature and welcome people to connect, or did it just kind of happen organically?
um, yeah, I guess it was more organic. I don't,
Mhm.
I guess I can't. I see where you're coming from, but
Mhm.
and you're definitely not wrong either. But at the same time, like that wasn't on my mind at all. when I wrote those songs. You know, I didn't really expect anyone to listen to them. Um, I did realize that they were more like um, they're missing a lot of the more, you know, the big black metal troops like evil and Satanism and stuff isn't really relevant in Black Braid at all.
Mm.
But I mean, that was just more like my personal preference. I almost thought, you know, that's such a big part of black metal that I almost thought it would be like more obscure not to do that stuff, but it kind of like went the other way. You know, I kind of like tried to just make it more personal and emotional, which I thought
Mhm.
black metal fans wouldn't be interested in at all, but because it is, you know, a little I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. I guess I'll just say organic again. Like it is kind of more organic and emotion based than a lot of the stuff out there. And I didn't really, you know, I didn't think people would be into it that much, to be honest. Especially like hardcore black metal fans. But I just kind of wanted to put it out there for myself. But I think what plays into what you were saying is it seems to be more accessible to people that don't listen to black metal.
Mm.
Which is something I never really envisioned either. Like I never thought I would have you know, black metal is a pretty closed off genre. And I never really thought I'd have people coming over from like mainstream metal or death metal, you know, like prog, like all these subgenres of metal. Like people just love Blackbraid, and it's pretty, it's been pretty surreal, honestly.
And it's honestly really it's almost like the antithesis of black metal, where black metal fans, they typically only want you to listen to black metal to be considered true black metal fans, but you're bringing all these people together into a genre that is so typically closed off, and I absolutely am here for it. I love it. I'm all about, John and I talk about it all the time, we're all about breaking down all those barriers between the genre and just like listening to music that you enjoy, which is, so it's wonderful to see that that is going very well for you, because you're doing it quite well.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. It's not even really my intention, but you know, I can't. I guess I'm just along for the ride. It feels like maybe.
And John, do you have a follow up? Because I have a different question that I'm going to ask that may take us off topic.
Yeah, I think I do actually,
Okay.
because well, I agree with you, Corey. There is an antithesis here. But Sgah'gahsowáh, you mentioned that there are not a lot of black metal tropes in your music, which I both agree with and disagree in certain aspects. Because when you look at this, like your connection with nature and the use of folk music and stuff like that in the music has been something that black metal bands, even in Scandinavia, have been doing for a while. And I know that you've talked about how much you love bands like Wolves in the Throne Room and Panopticon, who have been doing stuff like that. You can look over to artists like Amelie Benjamin of Myrkur or Catherine Shepard of Sylvain, who are also working that in. So I know, like, so the first two songs that you wrote and put out very much are more in the like raw black metal stylings, and then you started adding in, you know, the flute and the drums and everything else after that. Was there a point in your mind when looking at this genre where you kind of were like, yeah, it's going to be a no-brainer for me to work in my heritage and my culture to put this atmospheric project out there?
Yeah, I mean that was kind of there from the start, that intention. I mean, I just
Mm.
really I don't really have a huge definitive vision for Black Braid. It's like pretty abstract what I want it to be at any given time, I think. But you know, I do have goals, and one thing with Black Braid is like I really just don't I really want it to be genuine, and I don't want to write about, I don't ever really want to force anything or write about things you know, just to write about them. And that's kind of why I chose to not include Satanism in it, because like as cool as satanic black metal is, and I love it, and I still listen to it every day, and I grew up listening to it, but like, you know, I'm not like a, you know, like double down Satanist. Like that's not the path of life that I take. So I, as much as I love that stuff, I kind of almost feel like it would be a little disingenuous for me to have it in my music, and I really just kind of wanted to stick with what felt natural and real to me. And I, you know, just writing about my culture and my own emotions is like kind of like a no-brainer. Like it's just what comes out easily for me. So um yeah, I mean, I really don't think that'll ever change. Like I really want to keep Blackbraid kind of um everything I write is really based in my own emotion and experiences, I would say. And you know, obviously that'll change throughout the years, but I don't think I would ever write about things beyond that. Like I really like to keep it as an outlet for kind of my personal experience, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that that's why people connect with it, in that it's something a little bit different, but also you can feel that emotion, and that that belief in what you're doing. Corey, so go ahead and ask your next off-topic question.
Well, off topic, but on topic, I definitely wanted to talk a little bit about the writing process and how you put together or find your inspiration for your songs. Because I know that you live uh, in like a very woodsy, there we go, that's the word I'm looking for, a remote area, a woodsy area, surrounded by tens of thousands of acres of just untouched wilderness. And so I wanted to know more, like, because I know that obviously your lyrics are very connected to nature and you're inspired by nature. So what is the process like of creating a Blackbraid song?
Man, I get asked that so much, and I feel bad because there's really not a definitive answer for it because I'm so all over the place, to be honest with you. I would say the short answer would be like probably the majority of my songs I start writing guitars and then everything else kind of follows it.
Mhm.
But it's also like really all over the place. You know, I tend to write uh my lyrics in nature um while I'm out and about, you know, like
Mhm.
hiking or hunting or whatever. If I try to always have a journal with me. And, I'll write them. You know, it's really all over the place because so I some songs, you know, I start with an intention of it being a song. Some of them are like poems that I wrote and like kind of like worked into a song at some point, where they just more started as like spoken word literature or something. Um, and then some, you know, I'll write like guitar and I'll really be feeling the music before I wrote any sort of lyrics, and I'll write lyrics for it once the instruments are done. Um, but I'm kind of just like constantly writing everything. And then I kind of just like to like mesh it together until it works, I guess. You know, like there's lyrics I wrote for the first album that I still haven't used, and I'm halfway done with the second one.
Oh, well, that's a
Because I
good.
just like
That's what I wanted to hear right there.
I sit on stuff and I have all this stuff floating around, and I kind of wait till it feels right, and then I kind of just go with my gut, and when it feels like it's time to finish a song, I'll finish it. And I know that's a pretty awful answer. Um,
Not at all. Not at
but I
all.
guess to answer your question, I'm kind of all over the place. I do it. I change it up all the time. But I'm constantly writing guitars and I'm constantly writing lyrics, and everything kind of formulates around those two things, I think.
Excellent.
Oh yeah.
And that's not a bad answer at all. It's an excellent answer because it contained a little piece of information that makes me super happy, and that's that there's a second album in the works, and I'm just like, yay.
Yeah, and Corey knows her follow-up question now. It's like, when? What?
When do I get the next album?
So, like,
When
let's-
is the
let's calm
vinyl for
down a
this one
little
coming
bit.
out, and when is the second album coming out? That's all I care about now.
Um, I do have a sort of a follow-up on that point, actually, speaking about like lyrics and everything like that. As Corey's mentioned, and you've mentioned a couple of times, how much of a kind of like an ode to nature this is, and how you want people to really experience or re-experience or rediscover or discover nature through your music and kind of get out there and do that. I feel like there's also a little bit of a spiritual aspect in the lyrics as well. Maybe not religious, but in the sense that like kind of like nature and the ancestors that you're singing about are all connected in some way. Do you agree with that? And what sort of like inspiration of like stories, books, poems do you draw from to kind of create this world that you're creating with your songs?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, nature's definitely sacred. You know, it is the most sacred thing. There's nothing more than that. So it's it's also something that is in everyone's life. You know, whether you like it or not, it doesn't matter if you live in, you know, Manhattan or Beijing or, you know, Chicago. Like, you can live in the most metropolitan area, and, you know, nature is still like smacking you in the face the second you walk out your door every day. You know,
Mm.
there's trees, and, you know, even if you're in a concrete jungle, there's no trees. You know, there's pigeons, there's rats, there's everything. And people like really kind of tend to forget about that. And that's kind of where I want Blackbraid to maybe help them reconnect. You know, especially for people that don't live out in the middle of nowhere like me, and don't really get a chance to like immerse themselves in nature constantly. It's just to kind of remind them that, you know, there is magic and sacred things in the world, and they kind of do exist around all of us all the time. You know, you just got to look for them. No matter, you know, it doesn't matter if you're in the middle of the woods or not. You know, there's always going to be something there if you just take the time uh, to kind of, you know, change your view for a little bit every day. And I think that's kind of what Blackbraid is about. Not only helping people, you know, obviously it would be awesome if everyone could like go on a 10-day backpacking trip and listen to Blackbraid, you know, in the middle of the wilderness. But I want it to be accessible for everyone. You know, it doesn't, because not everyone has, you know, the ability or the privilege to do that. And it, I want it to kind of help people make those connections, especially those people that maybe, you know, are a little more cut off from those things on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
And
it's
oh, go ahead, Corey. Go ahead.
I was going to say it's an excellent point that even if you're in like a city like Manhattan or LA or something where there's no real trees, I mean, nature is always right there. And if you look away for too long, it'll take back over. So it's an
Yeah,
excellent, I
exactly.
like that point.
Um, yeah, it's you know, I just hope it helps people maybe open their eyes a little bit more to what they what they're missing maybe.
Hmm.
Yeah. Corey, did you have a extra point on that?
I did not. You can go ahead and I will not interrupt you now.
Okay, no, I just wanted to follow up on you know what the inspirations for your lyrics and stuff like that, as far as if there's any like literature, movies, film, other music, things like that that kind of inspire these stories that you weave.
Um, Not really, to be honest.
Hmm.
I you know, a lot of people think that it's like based in Native American storytelling and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Which I guess it is to an extent. Like, Native culture's always in history has always been a huge part of my life, and um, that obviously influences me a lot. But um, you know, like the songs I write aren't they don't reflect any sort of folktale or history that's been passed down to me or anything. It really just is based in my own experience and my own spirituality. It's, you know, it's really kind of my own doing, and I definitely can't claim to speak for anything else. Like, I don't really you know, there's no literature or anything that I've really based stuff off. Obviously, everything that I read kind of influences me, but
Of course.
the songs are like very much a part of my own life experience, instead, as opposed to anything else, I'd say.
Okay, great. Yeah, I love that. I do want to switch gears a little bit because I was listening to an interview that you were doing, and you mentioned about how, you know, you had never really, you know, you said at the beginning of this interview, you never really intended to get even 1,000 listens or anything like that, let alone bring this project to the stage and play live and everything like that. And I know that you have done some rituals, and you have a few more coming up. How has that been, and what has the transition been to go from I'm just gonna fuck around, play some music, to people coming out to your shows and doing this live with a bunch of kick-ass bands?
Yeah, it's been insane. I mean, you know, man, it's been really crazy. I don't know what to say. Like, I was pretty set, you know, on being a solo hermit guy, like the rest of the solo guys, when I started, and just the demand became so overwhelming so fast, and like um I that decision I'd say was really 100% based on the fans. Like um I was pretty resistant to touring and playing live and stuff, but like at some point people were just like people wanted it so bad. I was like, I really got to look into this, and now we're doing the thing, and we're gonna tour next year, and yeah, I guess we're like a full-fledged band at this point. I got a bunch of buddies who I love playing with me right now. But it'll always Blackbraid will always remain a solo thing.
Mm.
I still write all the music, and it's like my baby, and those guys are just playing live with me, live members for the time being, and but yeah, it's been pretty nuts. Like I only even started this project maybe 7 months ago, so it's all been like
That's crazy.
Holy shit.
Crazy.
really fast. Yeah, I made all my accounts in February, like my social media and stuff, and I dropped my first single. I dropped Barefoot Ghost Dance like right around Valentine's Day,
Mm.
and that's like when I made Blackbraid, and it's been nonstop since then, kind of.
So you never know what's going to happen, everybody, when you put yourself out there. I think that's one of the lessons to take away. Corey is also like fist pumping in her head because not only have you said there's new albums, but there's a tour coming.
Yeah. I will say that you're not allowed to be a hermit until I get to see you live. Like you still have to tour until I get to see you live, and then you can go be a hermit until the next album comes out, and then you got to tour again. Sorry. Them's the rules.
Like part-time hermit.
Part-time hermit. Yeah.
Real quick before I throw it back to you, Corey, we have a question in the chat from Skyclad Nad. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. They just want to know if you're self-taught on guitar. They're just curious.
Oh yeah, I am. I learned to read tabs when I was maybe I've been playing guitar a long time. It's actually kind of embarrassing. Like I should be way better at guitar because I've been playing it like maybe
Bro, you're preaching to the choir over here.
20 years or something.
Yeah.
Now I've been playing, and like I should be Eddie Van Halen at this point, but I'm not. But yeah, I think I started playing around maybe 10 or 12. I just thought I learned how to read tabs, and then I just taught myself using tabs, really.
Fuck yeah. It's impressive as
Nice.
shit. There you go. Skyclad asked and answered, everybody. Corey, I'm going to throw it back to you. I think I'm set unless if you want
I've
to
got
ask the
my
last
final question,
then
and
let's
that's
do
it.
it.
Okay. So you're ready for the last one, the final one. Okay. So this is probably one of the most important questions you will ever be asked in an interview. It's kind of a make or break career defining question here. What is your favorite dinosaur?
Oh man. That's a hard one.
It is. It's the hardest question ever. Because they're all cool.
They are all pretty cool. Maybe a velociraptor. I'm pretty into the the mindless killing machine thing. So.
Well, you're a hunter as well, so I feel like there's some crossover there.
Yeah, and it's a classic. It's a classic for a reason.
Yeah, they got the huge talon, and
Huge
all around pretty quality dinosaur in my opinion.
Fuck yeah.
That's what the Velociraptor's slogan needs to be now, a pretty quality dinosaur.
All right. Well, Sgah'gahsowáh, thank you so much for joining us today, talking about your music and answering our questions and all that other stuff. And congrats on the album, my friend. I know it's been a crazy 7 months, but we're very much enjoying it, and we can't wait to see what else is coming down the future.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anytime. So.
Yeah, everybody go pick up the album now. Hopefully we'll have a link in the chat. If not, we'll post one in a little while. Oh, that reminds me. Our vinyl is going to be coming as well. I know there's a backlog with production and stuff like that, but we've been asked a few times on this channel if that's a thing that will be happening.
Yeah. Everyone keeps asking, and I know everyone wants it. It's definitely coming this year. Everyone probably knows that the vinyl industry is kind of a shit show right now. So I'm looking at shipping the vinyl in December. But I didn't want to officially announce it or do a pre-order more than a month in advance or whatever in case
Sure.
dates got a little messed up. But it's definitely on the way. It's no secret. We can tell everyone. I'm hoping for December, but you'll know for sure when the pre-order comes around. And it won't be too long for that too. Maybe another month or so. And
Hell yeah.
we'll have concrete dates there.
I could wait as long as we need to, as long as that is just a affirmative in the answer. That's all the people want to know.
And everybody should go sign up for your email list so that they actually are alerted when the vinyl becomes available, because it will go fast because I'm going to buy them all. No.
Yeah, not long now. Hopefully December is what I'm aiming for.
Fuck yeah. Well, Sgah'gahsowáh, thank you so much again. Congrats on the album. And we'll have you back again when there is new music in the future, my friend, if you're willing to hop on.
Perfect. Always. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, everybody. Thank you so much, y'all. You have a good night, my friend.